It is possible to unflip your mid-century house. Don't take my word for it. Today I'm chatting with Dana and Colin of Instagram's Unflipping, who have been doing this themselves and sharing their journey in a way that is helping so many. Here's Dana.
The amount of comments we get of people being like, oh my God, I didn't even know this was an option. Like, I feel like I'm going to have to buy a flipped house eventually, like at this point in the world. And now to know that I can just not have to live with that is amazing.
Today we're talking about how they did it and how you can do it too. Hey there, welcome back to Mid-Mod Remodel. This is the show about updating MCM homes, helping you match a mid-century home to your modern life. I'm your host, Della Hansman, architect and mid-century ranch enthusiast. You're listening to episode 2211. I'm so excited to share this conversation with you. I love getting to meet my mid-century Instagram friends. If not in real life, then at least through the chattier medium of a Zoom call. Seeing their faces, hearing their backstory, it does so much to enrich the experience of following along with their delightful Instagram account. But speaking of seeing, however, you are going to want to see what we are talking about today. So check out this Instagram account, unflipping. That's unflipping with a period in the middle of the words. They've been featured in Atomic Ranch. I'll link to that article in the show notes. And I was recently tickled to see them pop up in my daily news trawl in a Washington Post article. I'll link to that too. They have reels, carousels, how-to videos before and after in a very beautifully photographed, beautifully finished, but not unattainably magazine perfect way on their Instagram account. That is really the place I want to point you. And I've talked about this before, but I think that finding and following other homeowner mid-century Instagram accounts is one of the most useful things you can do if you yourself are on a journey towards making thoughtful changes to your mid-century home. It is always fun to go on a beautiful house tour like I did a couple of weeks ago. It's gorgeous to get Atomic Ranch magazine and flip through the pages and sort of see a finished, polished product. It's fun to buy books on architecture and see both historical examples and what people have done with beautiful houses refinished on very large budgets today. But one of the most useful things you can do is follow along the journey of other people who are mostly using family labor, dad projects, elbow grease, spending time to work their way through something that is actually achievable for you, and who are willing to share, although of course their account is mostly the beautiful pictures of how it's all going well, a bit of the warts and all lessons that they've taken on, a bit of their process, and to see over the course of how long they've been posting that this is not an overnight sensation. So the biggest takeaway that I hope you'll find in this hour-long love fest for mid-century houses, and specifically my appreciation for everything that Colin and Dana have been doing with their home, is that it is absolutely possible for you to do this in your home, what they are doing in theirs. Dana and Colin have been documenting their 5-year journey, still in progress. They're not completely done. They've got projects that we will talk about in this episode and rooms they don't show in their Instagram account. But 5 years since buying their first home, a pretty thoroughly flipped mid-century house, and at first filling it up quickly with Wayfair products, furniture, and pieces just to put things into empty rooms. But eventually, over time, growing themselves into being seasoned expert vintage hunters and self-educated experts in mid-century homes, and specifically in putting back once lost charm. They have hunted down the original type of paneling to reinstall into their house. They've struggled to match stain and grain in replacing, or I should say re-replacing, their doors and trim, which were originally mid-century, and then when they bought all white fake 5-6 panel doors. And they rebuilt an entire kitchen from IKEA. It's just IKEA, no extra custom doors and drawers, and it looks divine. They have made thoughtful, careful choices, and they've also learned along the way how sometimes a bit more planning can help you go faster, and sometimes you just have to jump in and start somewhere. One of my takeaways from this was that they have a really nicely balanced energy between them of someone who likes to jump in and get a project started, and someone who wants to do that deep research and really plan it all out and find out everything they can. Pairing those two things together is kind of a recipe for success. Most recently, they have been unpainting their painted brick. And this is actually something that I just want to trumpet to the entire internet. I want everyone to see what they're doing and get inspired by it. I'm so happy to see examples like Colin and Data springing up across the internet, finding resources themselves, tracking down other friends, and answering the questions of everybody that reaches out to them online. By the way, this is another reason to take your advice from mid-century homeowner Instagram accounts, as well as from me, I'm happy to answer questions too, but they spend a lot of time answering comments and questions that they get on their posts, in their DMs. They are inveterate sharers of the knowledge that they have gained. And I think that this is a pretty universal truth of other people who are taking the time and trouble to document their mid-century restoration or unflipping or preservation journeys on Instagram. When you find someone who's willing to share that much of their house and what they've done to it, that person is excited. They are a fellow mid-century nerd. They are excited to share what they have learned with you. Before we get into this, I should just say Monday was the first office hours call of our newly kicked off mid-mod remod squad. If you've been following along the last couple of weeks when I've been talking about Ready to Remodel, which is my homeowner program to show you the step-by-step process to plan and update perhaps an unflip for a mid-century home, it's not too late for you to join us. You can watch the recording of Monday's call and still get the benefit of the other calls we're going to be doing. I only mention this because sometimes it's really fun to find your way through the woods on your own, and sometimes you want a little hand-holding, a little more community, a little bit of a framework. And so that is there for you. You can find out more about that on my website. Pop over to midmod-midwest.com/ready anytime you want to learn more about the master plan method for planning a mid-century remodel for a mid-century home. Or go straight to the show notes page for this whole episode, which will give you the transcript, but also links to their Instagram, a couple of my favorite photos of their projects and work to date, their Atomic Ranch article and their Washington Post article. That'll be at midmod-midwest.com/2211. One way or another, if you love your mid-century home, you are so far from alone. And that is a really fun aspect of what we're going to talk about today. So let's get into this concept. Unflipping. A flipped house is not a final answer. It is not the end of the line for a mid-century house. And today I want you to see how possible it is to unflip a mid-century home that you can love yourself. I am so excited to be here with Dana and Colin of Unflipping. And I think I can just describe you as of Unflipping because you have kind of, if you didn't make up this term, and I'm going to ask about that in a moment, you have made this term so popular, it seems so right, that I'm starting to hear from clients, from students, from people who reach out to me about mid-century ideas, that you are one of their primary sources for inspiration. So I have to say thank you for that. Thank you for all the good work you're doing on your house, and thank you for being here today. It's so exciting to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. And I mean, that's also exciting to hear that, so many people are just kind of, sending our house to you and just kind of, using as reference, which, from the beginning, we wouldn't have thought that would have been a thing.
No.
So
we were just posting into the void. So if anyone could take inspiration from it, great.
It has grown organically, I think, because it is great. And I wanted to ask you about the word you named your Instagram account, Unflipping. Did you see that somewhere else, or did it just come to you as like a right thing when you began?
Yeah, we kind of just I would say made it up, but we're just like, well, this seems a little bit more appropriate for what we're trying to do. And we try to go out and look to see, where else it was being used, just to make sure, we're not just copying somebody or
right.
just kind of taking an avenue that might not be fruitful. And so when we did it, didn't really find much out there. And so we put Unflipping onto our Instagram account, and from there it's kind of history almost.
Yeah.
It does feel like one of those things that is now so, to me, it feels so obvious and right. I'm surprised it wasn't around before, but also that's how these things kind of emerge, is that we put a name on something that just describes what it is. And there are so many houses out there that are in need of unflipping, because we were talking a little bit before the recording. It's not, your house is mid-century and it's great. We'll talk about that in a minute. But the concept of unflipping applies to a lot of different houses. Do you get people reaching out to you mostly about mid-century houses or about all kinds?
Mostly mid-century, just for, advice and stuff like that, where we source materials, furniture, all that sort of thing. But we definitely have a lot of people with all different kinds of houses, just relating to us. I'm not necessarily a mid-century fan, but what you guys are doing is so relatable and inspiring.
Yeah.
And you've gotten some pretty good media attention, which I think has helped boost the signal and get your good advice and good example out to more people. You've been in the Washington Post, Atomic Ranch, other places. And I think every time you get published, it gives more people the inspiration that they don't have to just give up on their house because it's been flipped. They can start to take action. I'm curious, though, about the story of this house and what drew you to it in the first place? What were you looking for and when did you go looking for it?
Yes. So
Go ahead, sorry.
no, it was started about like what, 5.5 years ago. So we bought like right before COVID. And then we closed in February 2020. So I mean that's kind of when everything was starting to ramp up. But I
Yeah.
mean, it was before, COVID kind of took over and, ruined the housing.
We
that
didn't quite
everyone-
know how it was all going to go at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we really lucked out in that aspect. And yeah, we always wanted a mid-century house. And obviously if we could get original features, that would have been great. But looking out there, there wasn't anything with original features and completely, grandma's house that we could just move into. And so, I mean, we looked at new construction, townhouses, just houses that had other flips. But I mean, we just kept coming back to the mid-century houses. And specifically this one, there's a couple on the market since it's a builder, I won't say builder grade home.
It was a model
home. And so we visited one before and it wasn't as good as this one. But I mean, yeah, it was just, we kind of walked in and it's almost like we knew, as cliche as that sounds.
Well, yeah, we saw that house and it definitely had its old house problems. It wasn't as well maintained. And we said, if we could find this house just a little bit more updated, because we were first time buyers, we admittedly didn't want any sort of crazy projects right off the bat.
Right.
And then literally went from that house to this house and walked in and we're like, oh, this is exactly what we want. This is perfect. And not necessarily our stuff. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no. Were they twin houses? Was it the same sort of style and model, but that one had just had a different history?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it was pretty much exactly the same layout and everything. The roof line was a little different. That's something that could change during the time is like the roof line. But I mean, like they took out the middle brick wall that divided like the kitchen and living space. And like the whole downstairs was completely gutted. It was just one big gray wall. And they had the crawl space dug out, which was nice for space. That's something we very underestimated at the time of how much space we need in terms of storage. But I mean, otherwise, yeah, there was a lot of original features that were just ripped out. And I think the only one that one really had was the wooden ceilings, which ours still has too.
And I think the beams were painted in that house. So they had white beams and then the wood ceiling.
Yeah,
so
which isn't abnormal.
it was fine, but yeah, nicer to have the original.
So, okay, so you knew you were looking for mid-century. What were the qualities of that were drawing you in before? Had you basically become familiar with mid-century before you looked for the house, or were you noticing houses and thinking, oh, this is a mid-century, this is a mid-century, these are the things that I like?
Yeah, so we were very novice at the time. Like
everyone is in their first home.
Yeah. So like mid-century modern, we knew about it. We knew the general style. We don't know how much goes into it as we do now. But there were some aspects of, just like a wooden ceiling or just like brick around the house. So like there's like little stuff like that you learn as to why it's in there. But at the time we didn't know why it was in there.
But it feels right.
Right, exactly. So it made it feel right. And so when we walked in, like the brick fireplace was still down there. The brick room divider was still here. The brick planter box with the skylight, all that was still here. It was painted white, which is unfortunate. We're still working on. But I mean, it's just like, okay, there's like those original features that, feel right. And so, I mean, going along with that and then everything else in the house, we could see the possibilities that were here, even though we didn't know at the time how to make it possible.
And you really did find a house that has some great original features in its structural DNA. I mean, yeah, kitchen ripped out, bathrooms ripped out, but having the elevated ceiling, having the wood still there, having the skylight and all of that brick that's in there, I can see how that would draw you right in from the very first.
Yeah.
We're forever thankful they didn't paint these ceilings. Forever thankful.
The laziness, yeah.
That would be a lot of work to get into. I wanted to actually, let's transition to some of the things you've done on the house. And I wanted to begin by asking, when you started, if you can remember back that far, what did you feel like was your first agenda item? What did you want to tackle first? And then what actually did you tackle first?
Yeah, want the kitchen. I don't know why it was the first thing. I think it's just like one of the more easier things that, it's big. It's such an impact that you're like I can change the kitchen. But I think the first big thing that we did was paint the outside.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is, we would have done it differently. It's a little bit more modern than we did it. But like the way the flippers painted the house was like this crazy blue with white. And it just like, you could tell it was completely off because it was like a sky blue.
Yeah, it was just, not a good mid-century blue. And then all the trim was just the stark white contrast. Yeah. It like the brick painted blue was just
it was odd. Like, and so like we had like this knee-jerk reaction of going to the completely other side of that was just,
Make it modern.
Make it modern.
Yeah.
And so like,
which is fine.
We like it, like how it looks and what we've done. We just feel like we would have done something different. And so like, that's kind of on the plans eventually. But like, that was probably our first big thing, was kind of give it that facelift into like a little bit more mid-century, but leaning a little bit more into like the contemporary modern space right there.
That's such a resonant story for me personally, and for so many people I work with, because I think a lot of times the first project you take on is one when you look back, you're like, if I knew what I know now, would I do it that way? But in your case, you were very much responding to existing conditions. It wasn't like you went in and painted brick that hadn't been painted. You were trying to get the cottage off of the house, and you just kind of overcorrected to modern a bit more than you would today.
Yeah, exactly.
I've heard you talk about this on your Instagram, or share about it. Maybe I've seen you write about this on your Instagram, that this is something you would do differently now. But I think I don't want to tell people, well, I mean, this is part of the reason that I advise stopping to plan before you do anything. But I also think that there is a human instinct to jump in and do something, and then you learn from that experience and make a plan. It's almost inevitable that whatever you do first is something that you're like, and when we're done with everything, we'll come back and we'll hit that one more time. I feel the same way about my house. I left white trim on my house, and it's extremely cottagey. And I have watched neighbor after neighbor copy the color scheme of my house. And every time they do, I'm like, oh my God, I have to fix that now because I'm just a bad example to the neighborhood. I've said again this fall that maybe it's on my to-do list, but it's coming on October. So probably not. But yeah, that first project you do, you're like, if only I had known then. So after you did that, did you roll straight into the next thing, or did you regroup and make a plan? What was your sort of next approach?
It was a long time after.
We spent a lot of time furnishing and decorating.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, well, let's talk about that, because you guys are, Facebook Marketplace is your jam, right?
I think
so many finds.
Our biggest finds,
Yeah, but we're everywhere. We're menaces in every antique store in town, thrift stores,
estate
Facebook
sales, online auctions.
A lot of prop house sales in Atlanta because of the film scene, so we do a lot of that.
Oh, fun!
Yeah, you get a lot of cool stuff that way.
Yeah, and then just Facebook Marketplace. I mean, not just around the Atlanta area. We try to tell people a lot too, like Facebook Marketplace. I'm like, oh, well, I don't have a big enough just like sample size of population there. So like, we can understand it's not difficult, but Atlanta, it's huge because people get it from prop houses, estate sales. It's just like such a big population. We've had great success, but we've also had good success on Facebook Marketplace back home in the NEPA Scranton area, because that was such a
people don't know what good vintage they have there.
Yeah,
they're just like, oh, this is my mom's outdated couch. I don't want it anymore.
Yeah. It was like perfect, like middle-class families there, coal towns, growing city, to where it's just like they went to Sears like in the 50s and 60s. So they have all this stuff from like Sears or other catalogs that like now it's like we're all trying to go and hunt and like source and like and they still have a bunch there. So like we have a lot of good luck when we go back home and try to find that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that is I mean, it's really fun. I tend more towards objects rather than whole pieces of furniture. But yeah, I'm a sucker for little brass tchotchkes and sometimes big brass tchotchkes to put on the walls. And Facebook Marketplace is the place where you see them not priced at thousands of dollars because a dealer knows what they've got on first dibs, but just like somebody didn't like this thing that somebody in their family once had. And I don't know. I always feel like it's just transferring it for someone who doesn't appreciate it to someone who does. It's not incorrect. It's just they don't value it and we do. So I think that's kind of the fun of hunting it down in a point-to-point way rather than going to a store where someone has like tracked down its provenance and knows exactly what it's really worth.
Yeah.
So so you did a big exterior cleanup, and then you were like, all right, we're in the house. Let's start filling it with furniture. You probably came from a smaller place, so you needed to actually fill it up with furniture.
Yeah, we had no vintage at first.
We had like one vintage light, but I mean,
so we had no vintage.
So we had no vintage, but I mean, so it was all just like before moving in, we went into like a West Elm outlet. That was around like the Philly area, because I was school in Philly, so it was easy to get to. And so like when we're planning on graduating, moving in, we're like, oh, let's go to this outlet. And we're getting stuff for like crazy good deals that was like, nice looking. And then like moving into the house, you bring that in and like, oh my God, we have 4 bedrooms, no furniture anywhere else. And so it was a big pain point because it's just, you want to find pieces, but you also need to furnish quickly because, family, friends were coming in. We don't have a second bed. So you
Right.
go on, you buy a quick bed from Wayfair, and it's just like, yeah, that looks fine enough, $200, put it in there. And then that kind of just starts snowballing into like, we need a couch downstairs. Okay, here's like another Wayfair or just like Facebook find, which is like a really cheap couch. And so like that kept happening because we needed furniture to accommodate everybody. And so it was just a lot of bringing in furniture that didn't match the house either, even though it was mid-century inspired. It still wasn't like
mid-century.
Yeah, inspired. And so it was just like, it was tough because we were trying to find vintage at the time, but even the price point for vintage, I mean, was tough, even if you did find it somewhere else. It was just like, out of college, you're trying to save up money, you bought a house, like dealing with all that sort of stuff was just kind of like years and years until we got to the point to where we're at. So it was a lot of just like buying, selling, replacing. And so, I mean, yeah, we're still pretty much about done, but like there's still a lot of pieces that we could probably get to, make it all fully complete.
Well, and I think as we brought more vintage in too, that's when all of our new stuff started to clash even more. We were like, oh no, now this couch really looks out of place in here. Like we got to get a vintage couch. Yeah. So it definitely had a snowball effect.
Yeah, exactly. It snowballs. Do you remember sort of like the first vintage find you happened onto and what that felt like?
I think the first actual, not that we purchased, but my dad owns a factory building in Pennsylvania that was a light bulb factory in the 60s.
Cool.
And basically they just like left it. They just abandoned it in the 90s, gave it to the guy's nephew, and the nephew just kept everything in it and then gave it to my dad when he bought the building. So we had this treasure trove of just random stuff from this light bulb factory. So I think that's kind of what started the excitement for finding the vintage. We found this little telephone stand that we didn't even know what it was. We were just like, this is really cool. We're going to put it in our apartment. And then it just kind of, They
had like some chairs and stuff like that too.
Oh yeah, we did a couple chairs.
They weren't anything like designer, but it was like 50s chairs that were put into an office. And so it's just like, yeah, that definitely was, one of the shining moments of just like, okay, like vintage stuff is really cool. Like, how do we go about getting more of it? Because like, the excitement of hunting for it was just like, I don't know, it really gets you going.
Yeah,
it does have a thrill factor. Yeah. Well, that's so much fun. And I think that you're right. Once you start placing vintage pieces next to modern reproductions, you're like, oh, I can see the difference here, and I know what I like better. And then it becomes this whole self-fulfilling prophecy. But you really have filled your house up with gorgeous objects, and I think it speaks too much. This also, by the way, for anyone who's listening who's like, I don't have time to even take on a home improvement project right now, finding vintage furniture is a great way to begin to offset a flip, because even if everything in your house has been painted sort of ghost white, when you bring in original furniture, you're getting the wood grain, you're getting the patina of age, you're just getting a bit more of the feeling of the original era of the house. Yeah. So, okay, so you're in the house, you've been there for a while, you've started to fill it up with vintage furniture. Then what was your first real unflipping task?
I think the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so you dove right in.
What we want from the beginning. Yeah, it was the kitchen. I was like the first big thing. Yeah, all the furniture's in, and kind of like what you said, all the wood tones are like warming everything up. And that's actually a good point. Our house people ask for our paint color all the time, and it's like a grayish white, which, you moved in, and it's very cold, but all of the wood tones that we added makes it so much warmer now. And so I was like, what's the paint color? What's the paint color? And we're like, we don't know.
Touched it.
Yeah, we haven't touched it. Don't know if you want it. We'll give you like the color sample that we have. But like it looks a lot warmer because of all the wood tones.
Right.
So I mean, keep that in mind. Color theory is crazy and it's annoying, but I mean, we all have to deal with it. But always keep that in mind. But yeah, no, the kitchen was the first big thing. And I mean, we tried. We got a consultation for a custom kitchen, putting back in like some type of walnut kitchen in here. And then that was like, oh my God, $40,000 plus. And you're thinking, okay, maybe we can't do this.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, IKEA kitchen with custom fronts. Okay, we go out to some other companies like Semi-Handmade, or I forget what other companies. There's a few. And then it's just like, okay, this still adds up to being like $30,000.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
no, so we're like, what is going on here? So it actually got put on the back burner for a little while. And
Yeah,
then all of
well,
a
we
sudden,
saved.
like doing the stalking that we do online all the time, trying to find like alternatives, IKEA released the Tistorp line, which is their just flat wood looking fronts. And we're like, oh, let's go get a sample. And we got it. And it was identical to like the semi-handmade fronts that use like
Oh,
natural veneer. And
IKEA knew what they
so,
were doing and got in front of it.
Yeah.
probably, yeah.
I mean, yeah, because we could not beat the price difference. Like, I
Yeah.
mean,
By the
it was
time we
crazy.
like actually planned out the kitchen with the Tistorp on it and everything like that, I mean, it was like a $13,000 kitchen. And then you add in like we went a little bit hardcore for the appliances because we're like, we're saving
Because we
so much
could.
money. Yeah,
Right.
like let's add that stuff in there.
Well, and it's
I
worth
mean,
investing in something that's not going to break in 5 years.
well, that
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I mean, we wanted like vintage appliances too, but I mean, that was hard to, source and find. So, I mean, we got some other stuff because we also wanted a panel ready to hide the dishwasher and the fridge to make it a little bit more seamless and like have all the attention towards the cabinets. But I mean, yeah, that was the first big project. I don't want to say we got lucky again, but I mean, yeah, the price point was nuts for the IKEA in achieving what we wanted to achieve.
So did you do the whole thing? You got the flat pack boxes, assembled them, installed them, whole 9 yards, or did you have help with that process?
So yeah,
Well,
we had someone help us actually install all of them because we had the whole house problems of wavy walls, bent
Yeah.
wood behind like the drywall, and so it was stuff to where it's just like
It's not a
there's
beginner project, no.
No,
Yeah.
because we were thinking like, yeah, you put on the rail, completely flat wall, hang all the cabinets up and you're fine. But I mean, yeah, we had to have someone help install. But I mean, we did put everything together ourselves.
Yeah.
Countless nights of just
The
putting everything
drawers.
together, the
Oh.
drawers, getting all the actual cabinets made into cabinets, ready for them to just kind of like hang up. So like we did have people just, help us figure out why we have wavy walls and how to correct them.
And that's great. I think I'm a huge believer in people think of remodeling meaning that you have to call a general contractor and you have to tear everything out and you have to do everything new. But there is a lot of ground between that and just making improvements in your house. And sometimes that means buying and replacing things. And sometimes that means DIY projects. And sometimes it means you're managing subs or you're having somebody come in and assist you with some of it and you're providing elbow grease and manual labor at night. So I think that there's a lot, basically the end result is the important bit. And you can control price a lot when you're involved in some of the project and you're not sort of just, I mean, it's not that hiring a general contractor isn't worth it, but there's a cost associated to making it somebody else's problem entirely.
Yeah,
100%.
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, your kitchen it turned out so gorgeously. And, obviously you had good bones. You've got the slopey ceiling, you've got the skylight, but you've made some really lovely choices for it. It's one of the first things that caught my eye, I think, that's probably how your whole account came across my feed was your kitchen, which turned out so beautifully. And then from there, what did you go on and try next?
What was next?
Was it the paneling?
The paneling in the basement, which is kind of what really took our account off, is the paneling.
The paneling broke the internet.
Because, I mean, I feel like the paneling that's down there is very, 60s, 70s. What you think of as paneling is what's down there. It's what was originally down there and they took out. Obviously, there's a bunch of different kinds, tongue and groove, flat panels that might be a little higher end. But we wanted to go the route of, that basement feel. And that was originally in the house. We're like, well, if we can at least honor that, that'd be great. And sourcing paneling like that is extremely hard.
Yeah, basically it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist except for like this one place, Mantelcraft, that we got it from. But we got that put in and like, it was the recipe for like people absolutely hating it. And also a lot of people being like, oh my God, yes, this is amazing. And then also, yes, this is amazing, unflipping and like finally connecting the dots with everything to where like, oh my God, yeah. And then that's kind of where our account just started really growing. With that too.
Well, and you're going to find exactly that divergence of some people who are like, why would you do that? And all the people who are selling you their mom's vintage stuff because they just don't even really see it on the cheap are not going to love what you've done in your basement. For people who have spent some time thinking about mid-century and understanding what makes it great, that paneling, I mean, I actually describe it as there's real wood walls and fake wood walls. And it's not fake. I mean, it's wood. It is absolutely wood, but it's what people think of as fake wood walls. And it can still be so gorgeous. It gives you that warm, enclosing, wrapped up in coziness feeling that was the vibe in the 60s, is that den feel.
Yeah.
So you had to do some dancing to track down that specific product.
Yeah, I mean, it was just trying to search Google every single day.
Well, yeah, my dad's factory actually has
Oh
a
yeah.
bunch of it that we were going to use, but
Oh, okay.
we couldn't get the sizing to work. And that one, that was, I think, masonite paneling. So my dad was like, it honestly will probably just disintegrate when we take it off the walls. Like,
Yeah.
it's probably not going to work. So then, we were kind of looking at like, okay, do we do flat panel? Do we just go for a more like modern, sophisticated look down there? And then I don't know, one last like Hail Mary Google search of wall paneling, and it came right up. We were like, where has this been this entire time?
That's fantastic.
Bizarre.
So Google has been your major, I was going to ask, maybe this leads us into your sources of inspiration. Where were you looking for examples of people doing something like this? Was there anyone? What books were you reading, magazines, websites? Sort of what were your inspiration points?
I mean, we're of course subscribed to Atomic Ranch, big fans of them.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is just looking at like time capsule house listings. There's a bunch of Instagram pages that share just like, houses that are untouched on the market. We love looking at those, getting ideas of what has actually been in these houses. And then again, since our house was a model build, it helped a lot with our fact-finding missions for this house specifically, because there are a lot that are either untouched.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, things like that. So we can see, what other houses exactly like this had, what people have done to them that we liked and didn't like. It's honestly just, a lot of stalking real estate listings.
Primary sources. Yeah, I think it's interesting. When I started looking into it, I was looking at original ad literature, maybe even more than houses. But like, what were they doing then feels more useful than anyone who's sort of packaging for modern consumption. What should you do in a mid-century house? And there's still not enough advice out there, I think, for people who love mid-century.
I completely agree. And it's always hard. And that's why, like, I feel like a lot of people with mid-century Instagram accounts is just like, especially ours is kind of, taking off, is because people are always asking like that same stuff. And we try to like really do our best to respond to every single comment and like every single direct message. We try to like do that because like we were in the same position of like, where do I start? How do I do it? Like, where are you guys finding all this stuff? And sometimes I feel like it's tough because it's just like, being chronically online and being through all this, it kind of just absorbs into your brain.
Yeah.
To where you're just like, I already know all of it. So like, I don't know where it's coming from except for just our minds. But it's just like, it's just old ads like Better Homes and Garden. They have like every single old catalog that you're able to go to throughout the eras and like go through that. And that's what they did back then too. So it's just like, just look through those and like anything old ad wise. The archive website you can go on, look at old, just like, craft associates pamphlets, any other type of stuff like that is like what you can do. And I mean, our biggest thing is we're always like really huge into Usonian design, which I feel like is also cliches, but like we feel like the pinnacle of mid-century modern is in there of just like the natural materials, wood, brick, stone, lots of light. How do you bring like all that together, which, comes with not just materials, but colors as well. It's once you're into it, again, you kind of like know it and know how to regurgitate it very well at some point. And so,
yeah, you've given yourself an education in mid-century history and design. I want to just circle back on what you were saying, that you respond to comments. Thank you for that, by the way. And this is, for everyone that's listening, I give this advice all the time, that while Atomic Ranch magazine is fantastic, and I just ran into Jikki Torres as a house tour last 2 weekends ago. She's amazing. Everything they produce is great. But I think it can be a little unreachable when we see the sort of magazine production, and you probably felt the same way when your house was published. We're talking just about the best things, the best camera angles, the best lighting, and sometimes those houses come with built-in features that are not replicable for everyone, so it can be very disheartening. Plus, it's a printed article. It's done, and you can't really reach out to the person in question. But with social media, when you're watching someone who is actually doing the work on their own house, you're a perfect example. You're an enthusiast. You've learned so much. You're excited about it. You want more people to make great choices. So when someone's going to DM you and say, how did you do that? You'll tell them. And you'll also make videos. I'm going to segue into the brick in a minute because I get so many questions from people about painted brick. And it's not something I've personally tackled, but I can recommend some products and some sources. And generally what I do is point people towards other social media accounts of people who have de-painted their brick. Now, inside of my homeowner program, Ready to Remodel, I've got a bunch of students who have already tackled their brick, and they can give advice to the other students. But the sort of like how-to video, the process reels you put up just recently about depainting the brick under your planter or around your planter box in your kitchen, I think are the source material now for anyone else who's going to do that. And so it's so kind of you to share that. And it's just such an emblematic nature of the warmth of the mid-century community that people are really cross-pollinating their good ideas. So thank you for that.
Yeah. I feel like we're not in this to be influencers or push products or any of that sort of thing. People are always asking us for links, and we're like,
it's vintage.
I don't know.
Doesn't have a link.
But yeah, I mean, we were, again, just posting into the void, and people liked it. So now, if we can help people, I mean, that's literally the least we can do, because we're just here to kind of share what we're doing and have a good time. And I mean, if we can help, great.
Oh, that's fantastic. All right, so I was going to ask you, so you put up new paneling in the basement. Have you depainted any wood actually yet?
Yeah. So there was, as you walk downstairs, there's like a whole room divider that goes down there that was common in all these houses. So you're walking down the steps, and it's just like completely open with just one slat wall.
That's right. I can picture it from your feed. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Go on.
I didn't document it very well. That was before we.
But that was like the first big one. We like stripped all of it, and there was a big burn spot from like a candle or something that was onto there. So we had to deal with that. But otherwise, it was easy as just stripping all the paint off, sanding it, getting ready to put on some new stain. And then, I mean, we also did, I think just like
this doorway
into the kitchen was used to hold like an old swinging door, but they kept the frame, took away the swinging door. And so that was all white. And so like we stripped that too and just like stained that. And so, I mean, some here and there, but I mean, wood and brick.
I honestly prefer doing the brick to the wood.
Really?
It's controversial. But something about sanding wood and then having to refinish it and all this stuff. The brick is like, it's hard in the moment, but then it's done and it looks good. But I mean, sanding that thing on the staircase upside down was a nightmare. Was a nightmare. There's probably still paint under it that we don't even see because it was so hard.
You get to decide what's good enough on your house, and you're like, it's mostly not painted, and that is that. I think it's interesting too. Everyone I've ever talked to who's done work on their house has learned along the way that there are some projects that are like, I do that for myself, I do that for a friend, I'll do that next weekend. There are other projects that are like, I did that once.
Yeah,
we're not doing that again. So maybe depainting the wood is kind of one of those for you.
Yeah, I mean,
or you'd have to have a good reason.
I think we would just continue trying because we only tried one chemical stripper and it didn't work amazing. So I think now that we've got our arsenal of like ones we've tried and liked better, I think it would be worth a shot again.
Yeah, it's also kind of, we'll do it as we go. Like our next big project that we're still doing or planning for is the bathroom. And so there's a window in there, it has all like, the clamshell pine that was in there that they painted white. And so, I mean, that has to get changed because we're doing flat panels in there. And so like we have leftover Sapele trim that we're going to put in there. So it's either sand it and then try to match the stain to the flat panels, or do we replace it with like the Sapele again? But I mean, there's still wood in there that like we're not going to be able to like actually change that, actually frames out.
So we're going to have to.
But we figured we'd do it like as we go through each project. Of like, okay, now it's time for this window. Now it's time for this window.
Yeah, the windows have been. I mean, the windows, we still have white trim on the windows because the windows are white. So it would be a whole thing of painting the windows or replacing them. But we don't do that. Yeah. They're brand new. We just kind of left the white trim on the windows for now, and we'll do it as we go.
It'll get done eventually.
It all goes on the list. Well, and this is an interesting point because I also noticed that you had faux 6-panel doors in the house that you then replaced again to get the wood grain, to get the wood trim. It's I think a necessary choice. To my eye, a fake 6-panel door in a mid-century house is like, you never stop seeing it. I never stop seeing it. It drives me nuts. How long did it take you to tackle those, by the way?
Oh my God.
That was probably our hardest project.
Did you hang them yourselves?
No. Well, some of them we did.
Yeah. So when we did our kitchen flooring, the guy's like, I could do all those doors. And so we're like, okay. he didn't do a great job.
He was a recommendation from a neighbor. So we were like, oh, he's good if our neighbor likes him, but
either way,
we took the risk.
Yeah, we took the risk. It didn't work out. So he did some of them, and then we're just like, hold on. And then we got our dad down here because, I mean, he helps out with a bunch. And so, like, we didn't really exactly know how to do it ourselves. Like, we had the general concept, rip everything out, try to get it framed in there. But we knew he would do it right. And so, like, he came down and he helped put up the rest of them, which was like probably like 4 or 6, something like that, some odd number. But like, he helped us put them in. And so, like, we've learned how to do it from doing that. But I mean, that was not a good project.
Well, the trim, we assumed this guy doing the doors would give us recommendations for matching trim. And he just got like construction pine. And it looked so bad next to the stained Luan that's like this beautiful red. And so Colin, I mean, he spent weeks like just doing so much research on wood and contacting millwork companies, and you probably lost 10 years off your life.
I don't think I've ever felt so stressed. I don't know what it was about it, but I was just like, this can't be happening. It was just like some prolonged panic attack that I was happening, but eventually got to the end of it. And so like, we found Sapele that like matches Luan perfectly.
And now you know everything about mid-century woods.
I know so much about wood now. It's crazy. But I mean, like, that's one of those things of like trial and error. You go through this stuff with projects and like, you'll eventually learn it. But like this knowledge that we have of that now is, I mean, priceless. I mean, it plays into a bunch of different things. And so, I mean,
now we don't have to think about it doing our bathroom. We're just like,
that's what we need. Is what we need to do.
That's the benefit of sort of having a holistic approach to the house, is that once you figure out your material palette, then you're kind of rinse and repeating as you go through it. Particularly, I think sometimes people have an idea of design that each room should have a specific different vibe, the theme of this place. And that's, sure, if you want, but actually if you want the whole house to feel connected, you're going to use the same trim over and over and over again. And you've done that research so you can make each project less stressful. Well, the doors turned out looking gorgeous and the trim looks gorgeous. Well done.
Thank you.
I had a direction I was going with this and now I don't remember. Depainting, replacing. Well, basically, I think sort of the silver lining effect. I personally started from a time capsule place. So I bought a house that had very little done to it because I couldn't stand a flipper kitchen. And I bought the house for these doors, which are pine plywood. They're not fancy, but they've got their original wood grain and it made me happy from day one. Yeah. But I talk to a lot of people whose houses have been flipped, and I do try to focus on the positive, the silver lining of it, which is that you can, as you're replacing things, as you're unflipping, you have the leeway to make some adjustments. Maybe you're actually improving on what might have been there originally, or you're adjusting it more to your own taste. Are there spots in the house where you have tweaked layout or chosen something that you now know because you've got the original photos, the pre-flip photos, that wasn't there, that now is, that you feel like is a benefit of having flipped and unflipped?
I mean, this kitchen layout, it was originally kind of like a U shape, which it had a nice little peninsula, very cute, and we could have worked with that. But we do like this long galley style. I mean, it gives us so much more storage space.
Yeah.
So we can't complain that they changed that.
But I mean, if it was kept originally, we probably would have kept it. But but since it was already like, all torn out, we're like, might as well just like
use it to our advantage.
Use it to our advantage because it gives us a bunch of space. And I mean, like the bathroom is going to be another thing where a layout change comes because they had like the Hollywood style originally, to where there's a bath in the middle. You go into the guest room, you can walk into the bath. You go into the master bedroom, you can walk into the bath, and then you could
meet each other in the bathtub.
Meet each other in the bathtub, basically. And like, it looks really cool.
I think it's so funny, and I love it.
But like, they've put up
they close it off.
They close everything off and all that stuff. And so, we're left with this really small, just like, what is it, like 30 square foot bathroom that's like unusable for 2 people. And so like the upcoming project for that is to expand, like double it to like 66 square feet, to where we're going to take our closet, the hallway closet, and then the guest bathroom closet, open all that up and put all the storage into one big closet in the bathroom, but it also opens up the whole bathroom. Gives so much more space, makes it an actual like main bathroom to where 2 people can use it. We'll bring in a sunken shower. We'll do whatever it takes to, make it like mid-century modern, but also like...
it's not going to look like it originally did.
Yeah. It'll be a lot more Houstonian, if anything.
Yeah.
Well, and that actually speaks to something that's really powerful too, which is that in the mid-century, they had different lifestyles, they had different priorities. We do live a little differently, and kitchens and bathrooms are key areas where our expectations have changed. The house was probably occupied by a family with a bunch of kids originally, or it was certainly designed to be. You guys are at the moment on your own in it, so that just requires different things. You're looking for guest space and space for the two of you. But you get the chance to make these adjustments as you go forward, and it really does allow you to personalize the space. And more than that, you get to personalize the style because you have chosen Usonian as sort of your North Star in the project. And you're moving towards wherever you can bring in those organic materials. You're probably putting in even more. A 60s house has a lot of wood to begin with, but you're maybe even moving towards more wood than that because you really want that sort of lost in the woods feeling, the Wrightian vibe.
Yeah.
And I think for everyone, they get to choose. Are you looking for something really atomic? Are you looking for something Brady Bunch? Are you looking for the sort of Frank Lloyd Wright of it all? And then you get to take your house in the direction with every project that it becomes more and more your style as well as.
That's kind of the beauty. Yeah, that's kind of the beauty of the Unflip too, like you said. Like you feel less guilty taking it in your own direction rather than, it's like, okay, I'm not tearing out this original feature and or restoring it exactly how it was. It's like, okay, I have no choice but to make a new kitchen out of this. So I might as well, also make sure I like it a lot while honoring the architecture of the house.
And you've made a lot of shit. Like the kitchen's a perfect example. It's not that there weren't kitchens with that layout, with the sort of a few upper cabinets, some full floor to ceiling pantry, and a lot of, open space counter galley in an architect design house from that era. But it's not what you were finding in even a 60s builder grade house. You were finding something similar actually to what the flippers had done, with a lot of base cabinets and upper cabinets that don't make for a whole bunch of work surface really. So you get the chance to personalize and upgrade as you make changes, which is really wonderful.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's nice. And then one thing that we always get is just like you're ruining the resale value. And it's just like, well, we're not living for the next owners. And I think that's a really important thing for a lot of people is just like, put your spin on it. Like, don't feel bad if you're trying not to be one-to-one or you're trying to think of resale value. Like, who cares?
I mean, unless you're literally living in there for a couple months and you need to sell it.
Well, yeah. I mean,
sure, but if you're going to be here, we're not 100% sure we're going to be in this house forever, but we still don't care about the resale because it's our house now. It's going to be our house for a long time as we plan, and we're going to enjoy it while we're here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I'm curious about that because in my opinion, you are also likely to find someone who wants this house because it is so true to itself, because it is so coherent, because it is so cared for, and it has appeal not to everyone, but to the right person that's going to make it not just a fine house, but the house to look into. So I don't necessarily agree, but I'm curious who you hear from that's saying you're going to ruin the resale value, because it sounds like that's a message you've heard more than once.
I mean, it's mostly just people who, of course, hate the paneling or think because we changed from white cabinets to wood cabinets that the kitchen is instantly pitch black and you can't see anything in it all the time. I mean, it's just people that don't like the style of it, of course.
And I mean, it's just the internet being the internet.
Oh, man.
It is what it is. We laugh at all this stuff anyway, but it's just you get it, that specific quote quite a bit. And it's just that's what it's all about.
Well, and I feel like there is that real estate advice where you shouldn't just assume there is going to be one right buyer for your house. But I feel like when you have a house like this that's so specialized, it should match that. If I had a regular house and I made it some sort of crazy unique thing, that might not find anyone. But there's going to be people that, because they appreciate the house, also appreciate the design of it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's one person that wants your house. I think that there is an entire swath of the population who will appreciate what you have done here specifically. But, and I think that's, within not everybody likes mid-century, but people who like mid-century like it all the way. So there is, I would say, maybe not every single person who follows your account, but certainly a lot more people who don't follow your account would be delighted to be the next owner of your house. So I don't think you've really painted yourself or unpainted yourself into a corner here. Oh, pun not intended. But it is interesting to see that. That's funny. I'm operating in a little bit more of a bubble. I also am pretty I'm pretty happy with my block feature if I get a rude comment, honestly. But it is true that I think when you sort of, the bigger your reach is, the more you're going to get people who are like, I don't like that, and I'm going to tell you about it because it's the internet, which is
exactly.
Okay. All you had to say was nothing, you know?
Yeah. I mean, we've have this great little community of people who are very, very supportive of us. But once you reach beyond that is when the little trolls start to come out.
Oh, well, I'm on behalf of all of the internet, I'm sorry, but I'm really glad that you are shaking it off so calmly.
It's funny, and I mean, the engagement helps us find the people that do appreciate it. So that's all that matters.
I think that's true. You know, if we're thinking about your goal isn't necessarily social media, but if we're thinking about that, finding the point that it's going to say, this is for me or this is not for me is actually the answer. And that, you know, that's true of anything that requires taste or personality choice. I feel like when I'm showing design options to clients, I want them to say no to something I projected because they can't choose to do it 3 different ways. They got to pick one. So there's the yes and there's the no and there's something in the middle. We'll find our common ground. All right. Well, I wanted to actually, maybe let's talk about the design of it all. I'm curious how far forward you plan a project. Was there a point at which you sort of stopped and looked at the entire house and gamed it out? Or do you go space by space, whatever's next?
I think it was kind of after the kitchen that we were like, okay, we should probably do this strategically because, I mean, we did the floors after we put the cabinets in.
It was a budget thing.
It was a budget thing, but in hindsight, it's like, okay, we should have just waited a little longer and saved for it. But again, you live and you learn.
You figure it out.
So then at that point, we're like, okay, now that we've done the one thing that we want to do, let's tackle the things that need to be done, and let's make sure we do it in a more logical order. And the bathrooms are probably should have been done first because they are all falling apart. So now we're like, okay, we're going to do the one we use the most first, and then the one the guests use most second, and then the basement one we can figure out after. So we're trying to make it more logical now.
But I mean, it all has we have it all kind of planned out at the moment on how it all is actually going to be. Like the guest bathroom will be converted back into a pink bathroom, like you would find 4x4 pink tiles. We're putting all that back in there, pink fixtures. The main bathroom, will be, again, a little bit more Usonian. It's going to bring in, like, the browns, a little bit of yellows, sunken tub. I mean, so there's going to be a lot of elements in there that are not only just, like, Usonian, but kind of come back into, like, a 60s way. And then downstairs bathroom, we disagree on a lot with some things. So we're trying to figure that part out. But, like, we know that's separate. But doing, like, the main bathroom affects the guest bathroom because we have to take out a closet and do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we can't do until we do this main bathroom. Even just like we wanted to put up grass cloth wallpaper. We can't do that. We wanted to do it in this hallway, but we can't until we close off this closet. So there's a lot of stuff that we really can't do until we do that.
Yeah, once you start thinking about this, then that, then this, things will fall into a projected order. And it does. Kitchens, I feel like, can be a microcosm project. You did your first project elsewhere, which is great because you did I'm going to make some mistakes and I'm going to learn from them. But I think a kitchen is a great microcosm project because it touches everything. It's got woodwork, it's got flooring, it's got fixtures, it's got appliances. Once you've done that, you can apply that knowledge and a lot of the same choices, given that you like them, which you do, to the other parts of the house. And they kind of fall like dominoes, but still they'll fall in an order or not.
And I'm sure there's going to be stuff that comes up that, we're going to learn from, because I mean, I don't think there's been a single project that we haven't just failed or something hasn't come out the way that we thought it would. And then we're just okay, we have to change course. And so, I mean,
you never know what you're going to uncover when you start taking stuff out.
Right. Being prepared to pivot is essential in any regard.
100%. Yeah.
Looking back, what's your favorite project that you've done to date, large or small?
I think we have different answers to this question.
Fair.
Yeah.
I think my favorite is the paneling because it just truly transformed the vibe of that basement. Like you walk in there now and you're like, okay, I feel like I'm in a house from 1966. This is so cozy. I just want to, hang out down here all the time.
Put a fire on,
Yeah, and it was so much more simple than anything we've done.
Yeah, and it is just difficult because everything that we've done has been such a big wow moment because it's such a big difference from what it was before.
Yeah.
And so I think that kind of just like, I don't know, makes it difficult. Yeah, because you went from white to like wood tones, and it's like such a big difference to where you're just like, how do you actually choose? But I think the doors and trim is something to where it's you're in a house, you don't realize how much it like just messes with your mental state and how much it just like transforms your environment. It's like you walk in and you just like know of just like, yeah, all the wood trim is all throughout the house. Like there was so much of that that
Yeah.
like you really didn't like notice before because it was just like white.
I mean, yeah, even just this little bit of baseboards in the kitchen is like, oh my God, that looks so much better next
like,
to everything. Just being this little strip of
yeah.
wood than being this scallopy white mess.
Well, yeah, and just like the doors, the 6 panel white doors. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, like they don't belong in a mid-century modern house, but it's just like the white doors, which I mean, it could be in some mid-century houses, but just like ours specifically is like that's what it had originally, and I'm like that's what we wanted to put into it. And so like
Yeah.
you're laying in bed at night, and like you're sitting there on your pillows, like looking up, and you see like these 6 panel white doors, and it's just like
Yeah.
that's all you have to stare at. You're like, I freaking hate this. And so like being able to finally change that, and it's just like. I feel like so much more comfortable.
It's
Well,
a
and it's
relief.
even made, it's
Yeah,
made
it's
our
relief.
hallway just like look like a cozy hallway into the bedrooms now. The difference in the hallway is crazy.
Yeah.
Just completely warmed up the space.
Yeah.
That's fabulous. That's not what I expected you to say, and yet it makes so much sense. And I really, I think it's so true.
Underrated icon.
Yeah. I mean, we still love the kitchen and everything.
But
I
a
just feel
space
like
you start in every day. You start from there,
Yeah.
you end there, and it really. I mean, bedrooms generally don't need or have as much. They don't get as flipped, and so they don't need as much unflipping. But the way you go to bed every night, if that resonates with you or if that irritates you, that is deep seated. And I think it speaks to the power of design generally. Like we spend so much time in our homes, especially since the pandemic. Even, life has changed, but it hasn't changed that much. And the way that you feel about the place where you spend most of your downtime is hugely important. Yeah. If you could go back and tell yourselves at the beginning some like shortcut piece of advice, or what, do you know what you would say?
Take your time.
I mean, I don't know.
Because at least with decorating, I mean, like Colin said earlier, we just were kind of rushing to fill the spaces and it didn't work. And we ended up having to change everything anyway. So, I mean, you do need things and you want it to feel like home right off the bat. But if you just step back and let the things find you, it'll all come together.
Yeah. I mean, I feel I tell myself I'm an idiot no matter what happens.
Oh.
It's just, I don't know, it's like such a crazy experience, but it is like, you take your time because it's just like, we look back now and like we wouldn't have thought the same way, but it's just like it all comes together, and especially like furniture wise, it takes time. I mean, you're not going to find it all right away. 5.5 years later, we finally got like all the furniture that we need, and I don't know, all the stuff that we wish we knew, we finally figured out, and we're still finding out, and it's just, it all comes.
But yeah, and it all takes time.
Well, and 5.5 years is a long time, and also really isn't, like, and now you're here, and now you live in a house that you're mostly happy with most of the time. On Instagram, you're probably showing us your favorite spaces. And obviously the bathroom, I actually have seen you make some notes about your plans for the bathroom, scrolling through your feed recently. But are there other parts of the house that are still TBD that you just never show the internet?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like the bedrooms in general, kind of going back to all of that. It's my office is like my workspace. It's got hand-me-downs of furniture that keep getting swapped out. So it's not something like I want it to be. I mean, I work from home from there every day. So it's just like a little bit chaotic, but it's got some nice pieces in there. But I mean, eventually we want to have all the bedrooms just kind of be coherent with the rest of the space. Like
ready to go.
Our main bedroom is going to have flat panels that come out from the bathroom. So that should all be kind of integrated and playing into one another. And then like the guest bedroom is also another just like hand-me-down room.
Yeah.
To where it's just like, we have like this like teak bed in there, and then just like some other furniture pieces. There's like a million lamps in there because we keep getting
That's our lamp graveyard.
Yeah.
It's so easy to find a cool lamp and then not know where to put it. There's like 3 in this room that don't show up on the camera.
Yeah, and so like the bedrooms are definitely one of those things, I think.
For sure. And I mean, just the bathrooms in their current state, other than, us talking about the plants. But I mean, I'm not going to gloat about this gray bathroom with the vanity go all on the internet.
Well, that I think is also really helpful. Not that you should, that every other image in your feed should be the gray bathroom, but I think it's helpful to hear on a podcast when people who are excited about scrolling through your account and just find it so soothing and beautiful and are looking at their house feeling like, well, my house isn't like their house.
Yeah.
Well, my house isn't like some parts of your, there are parts of your house that you love and are done, and there are parts of your house you're still working on. And I think that also, you see more of that in Instagram, in stories, in conversations like this. And it really helps to get over the sort of disappointment overwhelm factor of seeing something cool and get back to the inspiration of like, 5.5 years from now, I could be there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sooner I could be partway there. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
no,
sure.
definitely. I mean, we've been there again, kind of same thing. I'm just like, oh my God, we'll never even get to this point where we're at. And we still have so much to do. And you go onto our social media feeds and it is kind of like almost the same stuff that we post over and over again, just in different ways. It's like,
Because they're helpful.
yeah, I mean, they're helpful, but we're trying to work towards project. And the realistic thing is we're not like these uber wealthy people that people think we are.
It's not our full-time job.
It's not our full, we have full-time jobs. We need to save money to get into these projects. We need to plan them out. And so it takes time. And
yeah,
people,
the internet tricks you into thinking things like that don't often.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was actually going to ask, because you mentioned that you work from home, Colin, but Dana, you don't?
I actually am working from home today. I work from home once a week.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm a pharmacist, so I can't really be remote all the time.
Oh yeah, no, that requires some in-person time.
Yeah, but I do at least get to, once a week, which is great.
So I was curious about how you balance the sort of energy of work in the house versus working on the house. And if that, I mean, obviously it ebbs and flows, and there are times when you're, as you say, planning and saving for a project, and times when you're doing a project. But I think for a lot of people that energetically is a tough balance. So I'm just curious if you had insight into that or how you manage it, how you balance it.
Yeah, I think it's just our number one hobby at this point.
Yeah, we just enjoy doing it. So it doesn't feel, I mean, it's of course draining.
It's draining. When you're trying to source everything, get prices for everything, and do all that stuff, it gets exhausting. But I mean, we finish up our day, we take care of our dogs, cook dinner or whatever, in our free time. It's literally just all right, do we have everything that we need to have? Or call her dad and be are you sure you can actually do this feature that you said that we can do in our bathroom? And so it just has encapsulated our life, which we don't mind because we do really enjoy it.
But we do just end up talking about it all
it's
the
a hobby.
time.
It's just a hobby at this point.
Yeah, it's our entire personalities now.
Well, and I think that actually, it's funny because that's very much how mid-century houses, by the time we get to the era of your house, the 60s, that house was kind of built a bit more as a finished object. But the early mid-century houses were your minimum viable house that you were meant to save up for, add on to. As the family grew, it would grow with you. And it was kind of supposed to be a lot of people's hobbies. That's what they were, getting Popular Mechanics magazine and reading about how to finish a basement and then doing it. So you're just kind of living that mid-century home improvement life.
Almost, yeah. Going to work, come home, do more work. But...
it's a thing.
This is a lot more fun than the jobs that pay us.
Yeah.
It's something I struggle to balance because this is my day job. And so I sometimes lose the energy to do projects on my own house because I'm I just literally thought about this for 3 other people all day long. And now I don't want to pick up tools. But it's nice, too, that you share this, that you're doing it together, because you can kind of leapfrog each other energetically through moments like that.
Yeah, there's days.
Is one of you the instigator?
I mean, we're both just so into it.
Yeah.
She usually comes up with these delusions that
I have, crazy, just I'll wake up in the middle of the night and have this bizarre delusional thought, and 50% of the time they end up being viable.
well, that's not 50%, I think. But the bathroom, she had this idea for the layout, and it was just it was a eureka moment.
Yeah, the original plan was to just keep this teeny tiny footprint. We were there's nothing else we can do. And so then I woke up in the middle of the night and was let's shift around some closets and we could have a bathroom.
And it worked out. And then we found, I think was it last weekend or no, 2 weekends ago, we found out how to even make more space out of it by just moving a door 5 inches.
Yeah.
And so it's just
now we're going to do a pocket door. We'll have even more space. There's just so many things that we're as we talk about it, we just kind of the light bulbs
Yeah.
go off at the same time. We're like, wait, what if we just moved the door?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that would be perfect.
Yeah, I try to be as realistic as possible with everything, which is sometimes knocking down like her delusions. And like I hate doing it, but it's just like
You need the balance.
I always think about it in such a realistic manner of like we can't get that. We don't have the space for that. Like it's just like one of those things of like I need like plans A through Z planned out before like actually being able to try to incorporate what we think of as an idea. And so I mean it gets tough, but I mean I go through like the same things of just like being hyper and just spitting out whatever I need to spit out. So
But you're manifesting different sides of two really necessary parts of design process that you have to open up possibilities. The fact that you can, I mean, to change the layout to make it work better it's not necessary. You don't have to change the layout when you remodel something. But if you don't consider that, you have missed an opportunity. Yeah. And yet you do also then get practical and say like, well, what's possible? What's plausible? What's less expensive? And so sort of opening things up and then focusing that back down again that's inherent to a good design process.
Yeah, exactly.
It sounds like you keep each other going and you have kept going for this time. You mentioned that this is maybe not your forever home. Would you take on another house that's a project at all, as much of a project as this one in the future? Do you feel like you would actually want that? Or are you looking for something maybe in the future that would be closer to right?
I mean, the original plan was this is our starter house, 15, 20 years, find like the perfect architectural time capsule gem. But yeah, now that we've started doing this, I mean, we wouldn't not consider it. Yeah. I mean, we're having a lot of fun now.
You can.
Yeah. I would not recommend buying a flipped house, but if you have to, it is a lot of fun to unflip it. So, I mean,
knowing what we know now, it's easier to consider it. Whereas in the beginning, if you asked us when we first bought the house, we were like, no way. Like, why would we ever do this? But I still think there's a lot of like wants and needs, especially like wants more than anything else of like what we want in our next house in terms of like it being like the forever place. But I mean, I feel like that's still 10, 15 years away. So who knows what will change in that time even.
Yeah, you've got time.
Yeah.
And you've got plenty of time to appreciate what you're doing here and really, really live in it. Yeah. That's fantastic. Okay, well, I think this is... I shouldn't let us run. Actually, this is the end of our time, so I should pause us here. But anything you want to make sure that somebody else who's kind of in your 5 years ago footprint knew, or what would you want to tell someone else who's starting where you were starting?
I feel like we hear a lot of people just saying like, I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. And I mean, like we talked about this whole time, if you don't just do it and make the mistakes, you're not going to learn. You're not going to know what you like, what you don't like. And you'll just be stuck in decision paralysis forever. And I mean, that's natural. That's going to happen. But if you don't take the risk,
just send it. I mean,
start somewhere.
Put a hole in the wall. Do something like look at like some YouTube videos and how to repair. I don't know, but it's just like you just have to do it. And it's just like it is tough because it's one of those procrastination things that I think everyone suffers. Like, I can do this or I want to do that. I'll get started tomorrow, and then you never do it. It's just like one of those things of like, she does it so much to me. Or like she'll start a project.
I want to do the rest of the brick.
She wants to do the rest of the brick. And I was like, we have so much other stuff to do. And like other stuff that takes priority, like the bathroom. And like next thing I know, she'll be putting stripper on the brick. And I'm like, all right, I guess we're doing stripper this weekend. And so it's just like, but once you start it. And then like,
you're in it.
Getting to the groove of it.
Yeah.
And so like, you just have to do that. And I mean,
you did choose a pretty good bite-sized project to begin with the brick. That was like a relatively small square footage. It's not like a strip up the fireplace wall that you have to do the entire
exactly.
the whole thing.
Oh, well, I think that's great advice. Just jump in and begin somewhere because you've got to make a mistake, misfrizzle it up, make mistakes, get messy.
Yeah.
Learn something.
Just have fun.
You learn something. Yeah. I mean, have fun. Yeah. Don't stress too much about it because I mean, like, if you're going to be doing anything that's not electrical or plumbing, I mean, it's all cosmetic. I mean, it can be fixed. Electrical and plumbing obviously can still be fixed, but it's a lot harder. And probably someone that needs to be licensed to do that. So, I mean, just do it. I mean, it's cosmetic. It won't always look that way. You can figure it out eventually.
Well, you've shared a bunch of really good entry points too, that you can begin with furniture, you can begin with one project, you can begin with one unflip fix, unpaint something, unremove something, replace something. And then, 5.5 years later, a lot of the house looks like this. And there are still some secret rooms that need work, which honestly, I don't mean this to emphasize it and to pick on you at all, but I think it's really helpful for people to remember that what we see on the internet isn't everything that's reality. It's some of reality. It's curated. And that helps us all walk through our own disaster rooms and feel a little better.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we try to put out videos like that too, to where it's just it hasn't always looked like this. And we try to emphasize that a lot. And obviously it's not always going to capture and get everyone's attention and understand it. But there's already people be like, oh my God, thank you for putting this. It's just because I'm in the same exact spot. And it's just we all are at some point. And even right now, we still are. It's not done. We're always there's always going to be projects.
Yeah. Otherwise, I think the finished projects or a finished house is a little demoralizing sometimes when you're at the beginning of your journey. It can really overwhelm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience, your insight, and for continuously sharing all the gorgeous things you've done to your house. I think you're really an inspiration to so many people. And I just feel like it's such good news for the mid-century space to have this visible example of people unflipping.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. It's so nice to hear that. I mean, we try not to grow an ego from it. And so it's just we try to really just keep it a platform that it's a community that people can come together in. And we try to at least help and support because
it's all we can do.
It's all we can do, really. I mean, we're not experts, even though people see us as experts. But I mean,
well, at this point, you've put yourself through mid-century Unflipping University, I think. Yeah. But you didn't start from a place of unmeetable expertise. You have just gained it over time. And that's also something people can aspire to and do themselves.
Exactly. Yeah. Anyone can do this. And so, I mean, it's not just us. Just go and do it.
Oh, amazing. Oh, that's such a good place to leave it. Thank you for that. It's been a delight to watch Dana and Colin from afar on Instagram making amazing choices for their home, building back a paneled basement worthy of a 66 split level house, taking a standard IKEA kitchen and really making it gleam by building in thoughtful details, the right tile, the right orientation choices, really just highlighting everything that's possible out of that, and continuing to just pour so much love and attention and affection into their home, finding vintage pieces for it, sourcing and staining and perfecting the replacement doors and trim. All of the pieces they've done that have made them love their home so much have made us admire it so much from afar. If you haven't seen their Instagram account yet, this is the time to go do that. I have linked to it in the show notes page. Find that at midmod-midwest.com/2211. That'll take you directly to it, the Washington Post article, the Atomic Ranch article, but also the transcript of this episode. And I hope you'll find some inspiration here, especially if you are, like they were, sitting in a house that has had a lot of its original mid-century character stripped and flipped. Even if some of those choices are choices you made yourself in an earlier incarnation of home improvement, there is so much potential to put back mid-century charm. And that is, I think, the great gift that Unflipping and that Dana and Colin are sharing with us through all of their tireless dedication to not just doing this work, but documenting it and being so friendly and open to everyone that reach out to them to share their journey with us today in this episode. I think it's really part of the joy of people who love mid-century that so many of us are willing to give of ourselves, of our own experience and knowledge. And so thank you to you for listening and for everyone that you've shared your passion and enthusiasm and past experience with. I will catch you next week, Mid-Modern Modeler. Thanks for being here. This episode was written and recorded by me, Della Hansman, and produced by Rebecca Rossi. If you'd like to support the show and mid-century homes in general, please subscribe so that you never miss an episode. You can help other people find us when you leave a rating and review, or recommend us directly to a friend with a mid-century house. Find more of Mid-Mod Remodel on Instagram, YouTube, or pop right over to our website to check out our services. I would love to design a master plan for your home or teach you how to create one for yourself in my Ready to Remodel program. Thanks so much for listening to Mid-Mod Remodel. I love that you love your mid-century house. I love it too.